stayed out. So just two cars coming in to change tyres before we get underway here. And it's medium compound tyres that are going on. It's hard tyres.
Hello people. It is time for a British Grand Prix in F1. We've got cars coming into pit lane already. My first F1 watchalong is for Ian Romagna Grand Prix, because ever since then, most of the races have not been as entertaining as I thought they would. But this one has every right to be entertaining. Yeah. I think Ferrari messed up with Leclerc here. I think they've messed up with Russell. So that inside line is clear for Lewis to go through. They're taking a gamble somewhere.
They're going to have to be so careful on the first 2 or 3 laps, but they say 20 seconds.
Here we go.
They mustn't lose more than 20 seconds.
5 red lights, there the drivers. Verstappen on pole, Piastri alongside him. It's go at Silverstone. Piastri's got a better start than Verstappen. Verstappen stays ahead. Hamilton's in 4th. Yeah, it's still too wet for 6th, it looks like. McLaren's almost touched. Piastri stays ahead of Norris. Hamilton's looking for a way through. That's Gasly on the inside. Yeah, somehow they do.
Tremendous traction though out of the loop onto the Wellington straight.
That's an RB. Didn't go into the barrier, I don't think. I think it was Lawson. I don't think he did go into barriers, but no, it's Lawson. Yeah, there's the other guys behind him. He's going slow. Yeah, it's still wet on the outside of the track, so I wouldn't come in if I was these guys. I'd stay out for a couple more laps. And there's more rain on the way, so this race could be the most insane of the season, behind Australia maybe. Australia was the best race so far this year. Ocon's got damage. Ocon's been in contact, I think. Oh, it's Lawson, yeah. Yeah, he's got damage to her rear wing, you can't carry on. Yeah, it's too wet in Stowe. I don't know what those guys are thinking, it's too wet in Stowe. Hamilton going for Norris! Hamilton on the inside, Norris on the outside. Norris fights back. They're scrapping away, Norris hangs on. Yeah, he's very wet in that sector. Big wobble for Norris, lap 2 starting. Yeah, Gasly's there. Yeah, Gasly looking at Hamilton. There's a virtual safety car now.
First, the middle sector alone, those on slicks are losing 5 seconds. Now this is a tough decision.
Virtual safety car, Lawson stopped.
Seconds per sector at the moment.
So Liam Lawson out of the British Grand Prix.
And that car, well, it's not anywhere near a service road there. So
this could be a full safety car.
This could be.
Because they're going to have to get that car recovered. It's virtual at the moment. Everyone slows down. 40% of their
Leclerc and Russell down at 14.50. Also to Hadjar and Behrman are the other ones who pitted.
Which is why Ocon's got damage and why Lawson has pulled over to the right-hand side of the Wellington.
I mean, that car could be alright there, but they need to obviously get it back. They could. Lawson could just push it back himself. Although he needs a marshal to do that. He'll probably get a penalty or something if he did himself.
Or is it just too wet in those final few corners?
I think it's too wet in those final few seconds. Russell's on the hard tyre. That's brave.
They were both struggling to get the traction that they wanted, and Norris just about staying ahead of Lewis Hamilton. If they'd have been on slick tyres, chances are they'd both have been skirting off into the Lando Norris grandstand, the Lando stands as they like to call them.
Yeah, Max will be on the radio saying at the VSC earliest time of arrival, how come Piastri so much closer to you?
Right.
Watch Ocon here. This is a replay. So Lawson on the outside. I was Sonoda as well. Sonoda was on the inside of them. And sent the RB spinning, not into a wall though. But Lawson had damaged rear. Yeah, quite a speed. Hits his foot down, then bam! Didn't know he was there, that's the problem. He could have stopped it there.
Who the hell was that? Whoever this house was next to me, dude, he just...
Yeah, it could have been Yuki on the inside as well. Ocon had nowhere to go because he just sandwiched between the RB of Lawson and the Red Bull Sonoda.
I'm looking
is that Antonelli coming in?
Franco Colapinto is showing us retired.
Yeah, Antonelli's put in.
This race.
Wait,
For whatever
Colapinto.
reason, and I didn't even know that Franco Colapinto was in the race because we haven't really seen it.
Yeah.
Slick tyres.
Slick tyres for Antonelli. It's another set of hard tyres for Kimi Antonelli. Like Russell, Mercedes are going hard tyre with Antonelli.
Behind the virtual safety car.
I don't know how we're going to get, how much laps we're going to get on the slicks, but
And stalled and stuck in second gear and retired the car, it seems. So now you've got to try and second guess.
I think
how
Colapinto
long
stalled
the
it.
virtual safety car will be out for, because when it he's gone off even just
yeah,
down
Antonelli
south.
off.
That's because they come out of the blankets at 70 degrees C.
Yeah.
You want them at 100, but then you trundle down the pit lane.
Yeah, they're getting Lawson's car back.
Now. So if you
So I think one more lap at least. That's all I'm going to say. One more lap at least. What the hell's happened here? Don't tell me he's gone off. Try turning it off and on. I'm before. Oh, there we go. It's on again.
get away with.
So nothing's happened. This is the race start again. So Piastri got a better launch.
Yeah, and I thought Oscar Piastri got a better start.
Better start Piastri did. The launch was even, and Piastri just went and got a better second part of the start. But then Verstappen just sent him around the outside in turn one and kept the lead. But I've been aggressive for Max. I like it.
Think of his world championship, but he was on a much tighter line, in a different corner coming at it.
Yeah.
That angle basically. Lando in third, really strong.
He's on board with Lewis Hamilton.
Coming at him on more than
Looks it's a lot dry now because this track dries quite quickly. So there could be some time for slick tyres. But look at that. There's the heavy rain that they're talking about. So what do McLaren do here? They're staying out, and so are Red Bull, and Ferrari is keeping Hamilton out. So here's Ocon going down the inside of Lawson, and then Sonoda got a better drive, went down the inside. Yeah, Sonoda on the left. Ocon couldn't do anything about that.
Ocon had nowhere to go, but you know, I was talking
Here's
about
the brilliant Norris and Hamilton battle. Norris hanged it around the outside. Hamilton had the advantage on the inside, but then Norris got better drive on the outside. That's how Lando got ahead, but Hamilton tried that braking going into the Val chicane, but then Lando got it back.
Before the race got underway, the virtual safety car is ending. And
Yes, the ending.
racing again.
We're racing
Here
again,
we
lap
are,
4.
Verstappen and Piastri heading the field with some dark clouds overhead. Down
Yeah,
the
they've
Wellington
every
Straight.
right to stay out. Team radio.
Expected in 10 laps.
So they're going to try and make these into absolutely bullet on this race.
Yeah, they will. So they're keeping them out, but the track's drying. We're expecting 10 laps. Bortoletto.
We've got another retiree on the medium tyre. The slick gamble did not work for Bortoletto.
That could be a full safety car, that one, because they're going to have to. Oh,
Full
no,
safety
he's
car, he's
got
got
it
going.
Well done.
Well done, Bortoletto. He's got it going again, so no need for a safety
That's
car.
really good news. At Farm Curve, Bortoletto has managed to get going again.
But he's going to have to pit in now.
No need for a safety car there, and we can go green once more.
Yeah.
Piastri hunting down Verstappen. Now Verstappen is running a skinnier rear wing,
So
which gives
so
him a bit
Verstappen will
more
have the advantage on
straight
down the
line speed
straights.
than the McLaren,
But I think when the
which should
second
be
phase of
better
rain comes, I
for
think
some
Verstappen's got an
of the
advantage here.
making the job
Because
a
he's
bit
usually
more
the best
difficult
driver in
for
these
Piastri to
conditions.
try and overtake, and this is what
Let's
happened
watch what happened to Bortoletto. That fire's about to start.
Afraid to get on the throttle because that's what happens.
Yeah, afraid to get on the throttle. That's the problem.
He was being so cautious through there.
Yeah, you gotta be cautious. No matter where your wing's gone, he's got to retire the car.
Are you okay? Yeah, but sorry.
He's out of the race.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, very tricky out there.
Tricky out there.
So that piece of rear wing flew off. So Bortoletto will have to retire the car with that.
Carbon fibre there off the racing line.
There's off the racing line,
So
but
I don't think there's any need to go.
yeah,
and
no need to
fetch
go
that,
fetch it.
but we're back
So
racing
Bortoletto will have to
again.
retire the car there. So Bortoletto will be out of the race.
Will they just try and eke it out?
I think they're going to need to, aren't
They're
they?
going to need to, yeah. Piastri having to go with Verstappen
This
here.
last time we'll see Colapinto driving for Alpine for the time being. Rumours arrive that he could be being
Yeah.
replaced
By Valtteri Bottas.
or Jack Doohan
Or
once again.
even
The next
Doohan.
race, and there is Oscar
They should have kept
Piastri
doing him the
really
seat mainly
trying
because,
to
yeah, he would have been
Verstappen.
the perfect seat.
Verstappen's
There's a yellow flag on
sliding
track.
all over the place in the slower corners. We know he's got a bit
Or is that
skinnier wing
Bortoletto
on
stopping?
but Piastri, I think, has kept his tyres.
I think Bortato stopped on the track somewhere.
And he must be.
No further action between Lawson and Ocon.
Got a yellow flag out there as well.
Yeah, Bortato stopped.
We've got a lot of slow-moving cars. I think the yellow flag is for Bortoletto, who's still trying to make his way back to the pits and is being told to retire the car.
Yeah, I know it. With that way wing, he couldn't carry on.
Those on the slicks
Oh, slide from Verstappen.
the five of
Fred
them,
Chappell.
and those on the intermediates struggling a little bit too. And these are our two out in front hunting for a few damp patches down the Wellington Straight.
Yeah.
This looked like a rally driver coming out of Beckett's there.
Yeah, it does.
No rear grip at all.
It did.
These are the last few corners. Stowe is the one that's really, really treacherous at the moment. And then into Vale.
Yeah, this part of the track's still a bit damp.
Intermediates there, but for the rest of the lap, you're putting so much heat through these intermediates. They're surely not going to last that much longer.
Yeah, they surely aren't going to last that much longer. VSC.
Another virtual safety car, presumably for Bortoletto then, stranded out on the track somewhere. Piastri's just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's got to get out of the car.
And another car there.
I mean, we could have got it back, but I think it would have been a fine or something, so they decided just to,
wheel that away. But
yeah, wheel it away.
Really allowed to drag a damaged car.
Perez did it last year in
to the pits, especially here. It's too dangerous.
What a shame.
Perez did it last year in Canada. I think got a penalty for it. Let's watch Russell and Antonelli here.
Is over. This is George Russell and Kimi Antonelli swapping places.
Swap places, team orders.
We will do it now.
Team orders on that one to get George Russell past, but those on the slick tyres are so detached.
Yeah, Verstappen was like a rally driver for here.
The leading packet, that's the rally moment that you were talking about with Max Verstappen. Verstappen's going through Brooklands and Luffield. Russell's just coming up to village. That's
Yeah, that rain's going to be here soon.
So what they'll be, those on slicks will be hoping for a full safety car so that the pack
I expect 11 minutes.
Behind the leader in the safety car, and they can make all of that deficit up. As you say, we've got two races going on. The second race is led by Russell and Antonelli at the moment.
That's the second race, and then the first race is led by Verstappen and Piastri. Sorry if I stutter, guys.
They're looking handy. If they can keep
Yeah, they're the clouds that everyone's talking about.
Like he was keeping us on the racetrack just
No rain where I am, but there's rain in 10 minutes.
Everyone's going to have to
Looking at the radar, looks like we might have light rain in about 10 minutes.
depending on how heavy
Anyone who played F1 2011-2014 will know that radio message.
a huge amount of racing. We have had a lot of incident. Colapinto into the pits at the end of the formation lap, and he's got stuck in second gear, car stalled. He's out of the race.
Yeah, Colapinto actually stalled it.
After being hit by Ocon, who was trying to avoid Yuki Tsunoda, and Lawson went off towards the back.
So is 9th from the RB. He's at not RB Red Bull. He's actually not doing too bad. Although if he was in the RB, I guarantee you this, guys, he would have a lot more points if he was still in the RB. They should have kept him in the RB. They should have. Like, what we should do is give the Red Bull cars the RB design with a Red Bull livery over it. That's what they should do. Lap 7 time. Piastri getting close to Verstappen here.
Has been very difficult whether we're racing or under the virtual safety car. Piastri is second, Norris is third.
Teammate Alonso.
Light rain around 6 laps, and then 4 laps.
Or heavier rain. We could have a chance for full wets here.
The trouble is,
So Stroll's coming to the pits.
Absolutely had it. Heavy rain, they're no good. They won't clear the water.
Yeah, they won't. So we've got coming from the intermediate, so it's managed to affect benefit the intermediate runners. As Stroll comes in for slick tyres for Aston Martin, they're not going to pit Alonso because he's in a points position.
Aston Martin message we just heard.
Well, maybe that's just a case of you're going to have to pit anyway, Lance. We might get a few laps in.
Yeah.
So actually, you're going to be faster on those slick tyres in the 2 or 3 laps that we could get in of racing before the heavy rain comes.
That's what they could be doing with Stroll here.
Yeah,
Stroll's on score points into Miami Sprint, and there's the heavier rain. It's coming.
And just to remind you, especially if you're new to Formula 1, while the cars are being controlled on their speed.
Last full dry race at Silverstone was 2023. But last time it was really hot at Silverstone, there's Kevin Magnussen in the Kick Sauber garage.
Kevin Magnussen would have loved, I'm sure, great to see him.
Yeah, would have loved to be in this one. He would have definitely loved to be in this one. Virtual safety car's ending.
We've lost Lawson and Bortoletto. Their career best finish.
Green flag, we're back on the way.
They're out.
But yeah, what I was saying was the last really hot race out of Silverstone was 2021. Due to insane heat wave, where not the insane heat wave, that was 2022, but it was a heat wave nonetheless, a 30-degree heat wave, and obviously the same Verstappen Hamilton collision. Piastri getting on Verstappen here. Not close enough though. There's the rain.
tracks, then they're using a very wide go-kart.
Yeah, using a
line.
very
They work
wide
very
go-kart
well
line.
through there.
That's what
No
go-karting's
DRS,
for.
when they perceive it slippery or lacking.
In most, this is not go-karting, this is Formula One, the pinnacle of motorsport.
So, otherwise,
I think F1, MotoGP and WEC are the pinnacle of motorsport. Obviously, MotoGP is the pinnacle of motorcycle racing. And the Isle of Man and World SBK, of course. Okay guys, obviously, as I said, let me know if you want me to do a World SBK watch on sometime. I'm planning to do the last race of the 2025 season, which is Top Pro. Glasgow Gilgre's last race in World SBK before he goes to MotoGP.
Conditions we're being told by race control. That could be a master stroke there by Aston Martin
Yeah.
to get their driver on a set of softs before the rain comes.
DRS enabled.
It's coming straight towards our commentary
Yeah,
box.
DRS. Piastri got a chance here.
Before that, dark clouds here with DRS. Yeah, comes Oscar Piastri down towards Brooklands.
Verstappen stays ahead.
Outside by Verstappen, and now it might switch around a little bit as we go into Luffield. Jenson Button described this as the worst corner in Formula One. Because it's
Worst corner in F1.
the drivers, but if you get a really good
I can't agree. It's the worst corner around Silverstone for sure.
Cops is waiting for you, and you can get past on
Yeah,
the
who remembers what happened here in
inside.
2021? It's not going to happen here though.
Verstappen gonna go.
That was 4 years ago, that was
Comes up
2021.
nicely, but he is wide, and now with that extra downforce from the rear wing, the McLaren should have an advantage.
But Verstappen stays ahead.
Going through Maggots now into Beckett's. This is brilliant racing.
Brilliant race in between. Verstappen and Piastri. We've seen some racing between them so far this year. And it's going to carry on as we go down the Hangar Straight.
But he's right on Verstappen's tail now as we go down the Hangar
Piastri's going to lead the British Grand Prix here.
down the Hangar Straight, and by the time they get into Stowe, Oscar Piastri leads the British Grand
Piastri
Prix.
leads, but Norris don't go mad for Norris's teammate.
Left him enough racing space though. Lovely clean move from
Clean move
Oscar
from Piastri.
And he now, with some fresh air ahead of him, could just settle down and see if he can eke a few more laps out of those tyres.
It's raining, brilliant.
Now George Russell,
Russell,
saying
it's not pleased it's raining. Stroll's losing time as well.
Have these drivers got enough grip on the intermediates if it rains heavily? Can they still clear the water? It doesn't stop them coming in. Putting another set of inters on though, does it?
George Russell saying it's raining, brilliant. I think very much with tongue in cheek and sarcasm being the order of
Yeah,
the
sarcasm,
day.
that's what it was.
Norris
It was
gets
funny
the
though.
touch now from Verstappen, but on the last lap was a second faster. Lewis Hamilton.
There's Leclerc and Antonelli. Leclerc showing around the outside. Kimi Antonelli and does. That's Leclerc up into P14. I need to change this to Piastri.
Antonelli fight this one back. Yes, he can.
Antonelli fights back.
And 15th these two at the moment.
Leclerc's been struggling on the slick tyres. He's been 6 seconds a lap slower. He just cannot get them.
Yeah, I need to pull
fired
this
up
keyboard a
enough.
bit.
We know the
Yeah, I need to put a
Mercedes is
keyboard a
very
bit
good at
closer.
keeping his tyres up. It sometimes hurts him for that reason.
Fastest man on the track's George Russell. He's down in 13th.
Yeah, but it's starting to rain now, so it looks like soon the intermediate runners will be the fastest drivers on track again.
Verstappen, he's only been ahead of him for just less than a lap.
Which means Verstappen is out of the DRS range then.
Yeah, it's most of the intermediates around the track, so
So he doesn't
it
get
does
that
look like.
service.
And in about 3 laps, he's going to be under threat from Lando Norris. On
Yeah.
with Charles Leclerc. Down towards Brooklyn as we go. He's looking for a move round the outside, and Antonelli places his Mercedes in just.
So is it going to be rain for the remainder of the race after
Now
this?
he goes wider, and now Leclerc seizes an opening. That quickly gets shut, and onwards towards Copse we go.
Yeah, you sense
Hang
he's
on.
starting to get some grip from those yellow marked intermediate tyres. It is Charles Leclerc.
Oh, it's going to be rain for a bit and then it's going to then stop. So we're going to have dry conditions after this rain shower for the rest of the race.
Final sector lap that's
Well, obviously,
much
that's if we
wetter.
do get to the end of the race.
Mercedes overheat their tyres normally on a hot day.
Yeah, they
On a
usually
cold
do.
day,
That's
or
what
like
costs them on a really hot
Las
day.
Vegas, they adjust the ticket.
Yeah, and Vegas. Tracks like Vegas, that's when Mercedes are the best car.
George Russell is absolutely flying. He's 26 seconds behind the lead as here comes Charles Leclerc getting.
Hulkenberg comes in at the pits. Stroll's flying along too.
26 seconds off the lead, but he is lapping at the moment 3 seconds a lap quicker than Oscar Piastri. And diving into the pits comes Kimi Antonelli. Lance Stroll
Antonelli's
finds
in.
his way down the Lewis Hamilton straight.
Stroll's up to
He's in
10th.
10th as Hulkenberg now pits as well. But
So
what
Antonelli's coming
tyres
in.
do you put on with the threat of rain coming?
You don't know where to look next in this
Yeah,
race.
don't know where to look next. What's Antonelli going to do? I think it's
Let's
intermediates.
see what they're going to put on it.
Intermediates.
They're gambling that it is about to start. It will rain. So they've gone with a full
So Antonelli has gone with the intermediates. So Mercedes have gone with the forecast. As Verstappen's 4 seconds behind Piastri now.
That's a decision based on what they think is going to happen very shortly.
Let's head down to Ted Kravitz in the pit lane.
It's a pretty good decision. All right, the first one didn't work out for
Yeah.
Mercedes, but that is a good decision because the rain is about to come.
Yeah,
Now they
that's a
could
good decision
George
by Merck.
not
And it's starting to rain in
yet.
Stoke.
But,
Not
yeah,
Stoke,
it's a
Cops.
good idea. Well, it seemed at the time but yeah, hasn't paid off for Mercedes.
Apparently it's chucking it down at the Aston Martin factory, which is half a mile from Silverstone.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll gets past Alex Albon. And
Stroll's at 8th. It looks like those intermediates are working well for Lance. Not intermediates, soft tyres, sorry, but they won't be in a lap's time.
On board with George Russell, he's particularly struggling in the final sector still, and things are about to
Team
get
radio.
worse.
Like, it really starts to hit hard. We need to box really bad interest.
Yeah, so that's where Max Verstappen's heading into right now, that final sector. That's
Yeah, the
where
wind's
Russell's
picking up as
finding
well.
it the hardest, and like I say, it's about to get worse. His strongest sector, sector 2, but even that's about to disappear. Where I'm sitting here, Crofty, things are starting to get more than damp.
Yeah, more than damp.
Davidson, look in your mirrors, Max Verstappen. Here comes Lando Norris.
Hamilton's 8 seconds off them.
Earlier on, with the
Stroll's pitted.
surface of the
DRS
intermediate
disabled.
top, it sort of smears the rubber about as Lance Stroll pits.
Yeah, Leclerc's
again.
pitting for Inters.
George Russell and Charles
Stroll's in
Leclerc,
for
those
intermediates.
on the dry tyres are coming in, but they've made up a huge amount, and now.
Oh, look at this. It's just chucking it down, going to Brooklands.
Piastri just going past the BRDC clubhouse at Brooklands with Max Verstappen.
Yes,
on
chucking it down at
really bad
Brooklands.
intermediate tyres, he says. Now with Lando Norris right behind him. Has Norris got better grip on his inters? We'll find
Yes,
out.
Norris got better grip. We'll find out.
Smear the surface and then you can't clear
Yeah, it's
water.
chucking it down.
You need
It's chucking it down a woodcut.
inches on the tread blocks to clear any standing water, or can they just hold on and go through this phase and get
Yeah, it's
away
coming
with
to
it? So
Cops
those
now. It's
are
chucking it down the Cops as
slicks
well. So this will be a
in
tough
really
one to decide for these drivers.
If McLaren need to double stack, they've probably
Oh, look at the grip Norris has got. He's going to go for it here.
to make that work. But Norris might be a bit closer.
Piastri's being
by
told
the
to
time
pit.
they come in. Box, they say to Piastri, go for it. They say to Norris.
Yeah.
He just misses
I think
out.
Norris could come in as well. They could double stack on McLaren.
McLaren 1-2 in this race.
So,
Oh, Verstappen's gone off. Norris goes to second place. Verstappen's down to third.
Intermediate tyres. He's got to prove it there, Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris, by the time he gets to his own grandstand.
Lando Norris at the second.
and of course, as the tread goes down, you lose temperature because the rubber twisting around.
So
on
Piastri's
the
in. Well, they're pitting Norris as well.
tread.
They're pitting
So
Lando as
does
well, and
Norris going to
Verstappen.
pits as well. So does Verstappen. So you start losing temperature. The slower you go, the more temperature you lose. Now we've got the top 3 all in the pit
Yeah,
lane,
all the top 3
all
at
for
pits.
fresh intermediates.
And this is pressure for the pit crews as well in service. Oscar Piastri, 3.1 seconds. Ongoing intermediate times.
I've pulled out front left for Lando.
Very costly. Front left just took a little bit longer. He's lost 2 seconds in the pit.
He lost 2 seconds. Verstappen back ahead.
Now gets back ahead of Lando Norris. Well spotted Martin because he was stationary for 3 seconds less.
Yeah, 3 seconds less. Verstappen was stationary 3 seconds less than Lando.
Again now, but Max doesn't have a tyre disadvantage. They'll come out into some traffic, but it won't take them long. In fact, Piastri's got a beautifully clear track ahead of him.
Yeah, Piastri's got a
look
clear
at
track
that.
ahead of him.
Alex Albon for Williams, who hasn't stopped in this race yet, now runs in second. He got a huge amount of track position just by staying out, but he's
Yeah.
under pressure here. So
It's chucking it down the Brooklands still, and on the Wellington straight.
Verstappen trying to put some pressure on Alex Albon. A lot of pressure on that Williams team after 3 DNFs.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Williams now after 3 DNFs in a row.
And just 1 point scored by Williams in the last 3 races. He's got
That's holding
wide, he
Verstappen a
hasn't got
bit.
the grip that Verstappen has, and Verstappen is through. Now there's Lando Norris behind Alex
Yeah.
Albon to try and get himself back up into the top 3. And look how the conditions have changed.
Yeah,
In
look how the
space of
conditions have
about
changed.
3 minutes, it's gone from bright sunshine and a gorgeous sunny day to absolute torrential
Yeah.
rain over on the far side of the track.
It cost Verstappen a bit of time getting past Albon.
Now it
This is
costs
the
Norris
position.
more
They don't
time.
get the help of blue flags, of course, but now it's costing Norris as well.
Yeah, box for
They
Albon.
say to Alex Albon, he might have wanted to come in a
There
bit
goes Norris.
earlier, and goes wide. Lando Norris goes through. Piastri leads by 10 seconds.
10 seconds
on
Piastri
Verstappen,
leads.
And then Norris, who's lost time now, to Max Verstappen on track and in the pit lane. Still
Yeah,
gets the
team
chase.
radio.
We expect at least 10 minutes of rain.
10
And
minutes of
there's
rain.
Still a lot of things that could happen in this race. Albon 4th. By the way, Lance Stroll is up into
Stroll's 5th.
Aston Martin put him on the slicks at just the right time.
Yeah, they did.
Put him off the slicks at just the right time.
What's
He's
happened there
gained
between
huge amount of track
with Norris'
position.
pit stop, and there's
Started
Verstappen going in the
17th. This
third Red Bull
was the
garage.
McLaren
The
pit
third,
stop,
obviously
the
Red Bull
Red
finished
Bull
third last
pit
year, so that's why
stop,
they're
and we can see
third out of all the teams.
3 seconds less time stationary for Verstappen. It got him ahead. Zach Brown,
Yeah.
the front left was the really, really tricky one. Didn't you have problems with that in Austria as well?
Yeah, Palmer's at front left
we
again.
definitely had problems there on our left front. I don't recall Austria because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can recover from this. We've got two strong racing cars. This race is far
Yeah,
from
two
over.
strong cars they have, McLaren.
There are parts of this track, it looks like the intermediate might need to be replaced by the wet.
Yeah, I think we got another 10 minutes.
Intensity of rain to increase in 5 minutes.
Increasing, as you
There could be
can
4
see,
wets
so
on yet.
This is going to be a crazy race. Exciting.
Yeah, it's wet. It's going to be wet at Cops Corner.
They're pretty comfortable out there, Zach.
Yeah, no, they're good.
Obviously, wet tyres are ready if needed.
The rain went down. Max was,
God, look at this.
struggling there a bit, so
This is like Malaysia 2009 all over again. Or Malaysia 2001.
Norris and also Lewis Hamilton trying to get past Esteban Ocon and has just been overtaken by Pierre Gasly. Didn't see
This is
Gasly.
ridiculous weather. Look at this.
Lando can see 0 in that position.
Yeah, it's definitely wet right now.
He can see 0, much less than we can see.
Definitely wet right now, says Hamilton.
100 metres of spray. He's way faster than Verstappen in these conditions. He really needs to get through there. Piastri with a huge lead out front.
It is absolutely hosing it down.
Yeah, it's hosing it down in Silverstone.
Currently, and on the far side of the track through Maggots and Beckett's. Let's head down to Ted in the pit lane.
It's shutting it down in the pit lane as well,
Yeah.
Crofty. You would think.
Yellow
we
flag.
had a yellow
I think
flag
Leclerc's
that's
off.
gone away. You would think that
Charles Leclerc's just gone off, but I think he's carried on, Ted.
Yeah,
you'd think
carried
that
on.
The race director might consider a safety car, at least a virtual safety car. It's not wet enough for red flag yet, but the teams will be thinking about that.
So safety car.
Good
Yeah,
timing.
I think that's wise, especially considering that the safety car, that the race director, as we saw earlier on, is minded to be a little bit conservative in these matters. But no one pitting for extreme wet because, well, we know that tyre's not really very raceable.
Yeah, I'll go along with this decision because we're getting very close to aquaplaning conditions.
Yeah, close to
and that is
aquaplaning
where
we
the
are.
Drivers have almighty accidents because the car gets up on top of the water.
Yeah, that's true that.
Piastri, unfortunately, because that means they'll just all catch him up.
He was 13
Yeah.
seconds clear.
Yeah, because Max is struggling with that rear wing level and just
Yeah,
generally
Verstappen's struggling here.
struggling up there. And it was all of that great work from Oscar Piastri and the pit crew has just gone to waste. So the safety car will pick him up, and then a crocodile tail will come to his gearbox.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. It's Hamilton.
Ball for Lewis Hamilton, who's down in 8th place and has been struggling in these wet conditions. I said he got passed by Pierre Gasly. You can't. I think Ocon went through and then Gasly went through.
That's probably what it
I
was.
don't think Lewis would have seen either of them.
Here's
And
Leclerc.
that is his teammate Charles Leclerc racing across the grass and back out onto the track again. Now, that is not the way to cut a corner normally.
That's not a way to cut a
I'm
corner.
really glad it worked out without too much apparent damage for Charles Leclerc, but just a complete passenger.
Yeah, passenger.
There's water that came into my visor. I couldn't see anything. Like a huge splash of water.
It's like he's scuba diving.
Yeah,
rather than
scuba
going
diving, that's what it's
racing a
like.
Formula 1 car.
They're 15, I think.
It's closer to the old Beckett's layout
nearly at
about
15.
40 years ago. He took there, but hopefully hasn't damaged the underneath of the car. And now it's
Hopefully
eased off
Leclerc hasn't
again.
at 15.
But they're obliged. They can't just abandon this safety car. They've got to go through with the procedure. And we haven't got any lapped runners to let through, so we don't have to go through that misery. They can collect them up, and it looks to me like if it stops raining very quickly, we should be back to full racing conditions.
Yeah, maybe,
So, outside of the top 3.
So this is 2024, their F1 fans
Lance
said
Stroll
2024 was the greatest British Grand Prix ever.
Nico Hulkenberg
Typical new F1
starting
fans,
ninth,
2022 and 2008 was the
running
best.
fifth.
I couldn't disagree with that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they did.
Like 2022 was one of the best British Grand Prix of all time, and 08 was. I would have voted
We'll
2008, I would have.
win that pit stop back. And,
Yeah, Lance
and they
Stroll
have.
is 4th here.
And they stayed on the track.
Hulkenberg's 5th. Gasly 6th. Ocon 7th and Hamilton 8th.
In 6th ahead of Esteban Ocon.
So if this hasn't helped out, is it hasn't helped out Leclerc much, hasn't helped Tsunoda out, hasn't helped Sainz out, hasn't helped Alonso out, and Hamilton.
George Russell has now caught up to
Lewis
Lewis
is back in the
Hamilton,
garage.
of course, by the safety car, and Fernando Alonso runs 10th. And it's Sainz and Albon, Tsunoda, Leclerc, who's been grass cutting and splashing the
Leclerc's
water
been
out
grass
of his
cutting.
visor. Antonelli, Hadjar and Behrman running last currently. Bortoleto,
So Behrman's
Lawson,
running last
Bortoleto,
still.
we have
No over
lost
race pace of a
in
Haas
this
car, we could
race
see him come up the
after
field.
Lawson was hit by Esteban Ocon and Bortoleto went off under his own steam and Colapinto stalled in the pits.
So these cars can lift about 60 litres per second.
So Hamilton can break a record today for the most episode in a British Grand Prix, which is actually by Jim Clark.
Imagine it's not very long before they start clearing a bit of a goat track.
So Jim Clark is obviously
clear of standing water.
the racer at most episode at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone.
At the Aston Martin factory, which is important because that's the way the weather is coming in.
So it's stopped raining at the Aston Martin
it will very
factories.
Completely stopping raining here, and I can see blue skies and little fluffy white clouds.
Little fluffy white clouds. So looks like the rain may be stopping.
Although this is an English summer day, isn't it? The only thing we haven't had yet is snow.
Yeah, that's in December.
That
snows from usually November to March.
Had a very fast guy.
Obviously likely better, then obviously stops.
So I will be very fast.
There's not usually a chance of snow in April.
Otherwise, if you start stewing, that your lead's just evaporated, it just you gain nothing because you can do nothing about it.
Yeah, exactly.
How long, when the rain stops, do you go behind the safety car until that visibility gets a little bit better? Because there are drivers who won't be able to see much out there.
Yeah. Well, that's the nature of the game. So it's a combination of Ben Mylander in the safety car. He knows what he's looking for, but he's not
Lap
in
16.
tyres in a single seater. The
As
drivers
Piastri
will be
looks to,
feeding information
Jeff's have to
back.
get the speed up a
race
bit.
director can look at the track into the different cameras and just check standing water. The visibility is not great there, but as always, the throttle pedal works both ways.
It certainly does.
Tom Felton.
One of the
I saw Morgan Rogers at this, not at Villa Park, at the British Grand Prix. I think he's in the Aston Martin garage.
Who've come to see motor racing, and it seemed watching the grid walk just to speak to Martin Brundle, who was the most popular out there.
All the people that we lost places, they have a worse tire, or we just lose places for fun?
Hang on.
So Ocon in P17 is the only one on significantly. P7 is the only one on significantly older tyre.
Crazy how you never get it right with me.
With a little bit picked on Fernando Alonso.
It's a public bashing, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that because he's seen that his teammates running P4 and they very much got it right with him? And he's now thinking, hang on a minute, I'm the one that's been scoring the
There's
points.
nothing about Morgan Rogers at British Grand Prix yet,
This
but
is
I know he's there.
nominated for
I know
Oscar.
Morgan Rogers is there.
Get on the Oscar nominations this year for a role in the film? I think he should.
No, we don't. Why would we?
Well, best role as a commentator in a...
So Lance Stroll, fourth.
I think could be a category of...
Actually been a right drive from him so far. For once this season, except from Australia, Stroll is actually doing a good drive.
From there.
Unless, you know, next minute he goes and foxing into barriers,
Still out. Lap 16 of 52.
which is
Here
typical
at
Lance Stroll, what he
Silverstone, where
does.
there are 8 different constructors.
But not today
in the
so far,
top
he's actually having a
9
right race.
Positions. Ted Kravitz,
When's the
over to
Club
you.
World Cup
So
semi-finals?
you might be able to hear in the background
Champions League
all the
qualification.
mechanics with the leaf blowers trying to dry out their pit box, not knowing
It's
when
PSG Real
the next
Madrid, and
pit
then
stops are going to be.
that's for Messi and Chelsea. I think
I
think PSG and Chelsea could be the Club World Cup final.
Just come in if there's a replay you need to do properly. Just to defend the Aston Martin pit wall,
Yeah.
they did exactly the same as.
There's
Max
the track
Verstappen,
before the safety car
Lando
came out. I
Norris,
mean, that
Oscar
rain's
Piastri,
torrential.
And Lewis Hamilton. So they were in good company pitting.
But yeah, F1 used to race in these conditions, and now they wouldn't even allow it now. But I think back in midday, they would allow this to continue.
Seemed a bit. Well, a bit of a daring.
Remember these conditions over 2007 Japanese Grand Prix, but they let him race anyway.
See Alonso's frustration.
And Hamilton pulled off a sensational wet weather drive, which could have won the world title if it wasn't for China.
So this looks nearly
And
racing
Brazil.
to me now again, and it's a good chance to see the aerodynamics on the Formula 1 car. The way
Lap
they're
17.
when they're a little bit higher speed.
I mean, yeah, thinking about it, if it wasn't for 2007 and maybe 2012, well, obviously if it wasn't for liability issues, and 2016, Hamilton would have been maybe
horribly used because he hasn't pitted yet. Lewis looked like he was
a
really
10-time world
struggling in
champion.
heavy water, didn't he, in the Ferrari lost
That's how
places.
good Hamilton
Now
is.
down in 8th.
If it wasn't for those years, he could have been a 10-time world champion. And 2021, he could have been an 11-time world champion.
As you could see, so DRS will be disabled again now until they come up with normal
Obviously,
transmissions.
2007 was his mistake with
as we saw
the China incident.
Roy Miller there, Esteban Ocon's engineer. running in 7th.
And 2012 was down to McLaren reliability.
With a dear
But yeah,
strategy,
McLaren had a fast
but
car,
you
but
can
reliability
keep
just
on
wasn't
the
there.
back
And Sebastian Vettel went and took the title with an insane battle against Alonso. That Brazil race will always go down in history for one of the greatest ever individual performances in F1 history from Vettel. With a damaged car, I don't know how he did that. Yeah, Piastri slowing down. 2016 was down to a Malaysia race. If it wasn't for that, Hamilton would have won the title. But yeah, Rosberg took it and then retired, so fair play to Rosberg. 2021 was down to, obviously, Abu Dhabi, but I don't want to go through that. But yeah, Hamilton deserved that race, and Verstappen did deserve the title that year.
Did you hear him lighting the back axle up there?
George Russell asking on the radio why this race hasn't been red flag, but to me this is a really sensible solution. We don't really want a red flag.
Yeah, we don't want a red flag because they'll just
wait to start again. Let's just neutralise the race and wait for the spray to die down and allow the intermediate tyres to disperse the water that is on the track, and then we can get racing again.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking, which is fair play to the FIA. So it'll still be wet when the race restarts, but it won't be as wet as it was when the safety car came out.
In this lap.
In this lap.
That's great. So
great news. Safety car in this lap.
Now there'll be plenty of spray, but that's.
Which one was I looking at now?
That's why they're the best in the world.
Cool.
He's not a bad designer.
Adrian Newey.
The best in the world when it comes to doodling racing cars. Adrian Newey.
That 18's about to start too, so I'm getting that ready.
Ed Westwick.
Obviously an actor is in the Aston Martin garage. I swear Morgan Rogers is in my garage too, or he's in paddock. But I do swear Morgan Rogers is in the pit lane somewhere, in one of the garages. Green flag. So track will get going again. The race will get going again on the track. Sorry, the race will get going again. I think it's best they race because then they'll then get rid of more water. Let's go.
I think he has got going now. They can't overtake until they get to the line. But
yeah, they can't overtake till the line. The sun's out and Piastri gets going again.
Any threat from behind as we go racing again.
Yes, here we go. George Russell around.
Have a look at Lewis Hamilton. Is Russell?
Lewis Hamilton. The spray behind Piastri is massive. What I was telling you about the
but the sun's out and the track will drive fast.
Works in those conditions.
Rumby. Russell on the inside. Hamilton. Russell up to 8th.
Looking almost at cloud cover, not just spray. And Russell knew that Hamilton's struggling to get temperature into his tyres straight away, and he's ahead.
Hamilton's going on the outside, and that's
Hamilton now getting the place back again.
Yeah, and Ocon having a go at Russell as well.
In 7th, Russell 8th, Ocon 9th.
Both of them having a go at Ocon.
And so is Russell, and Ocon's lost 2 places as we go further back down. There's Yuki Tsunoda under pressure from Charles Leclerc in the battle for 13th.
Yes, I think Russell got tucked up behind Ocon, struggling to get those heavily used inters.
Yeah, struggling to get those inters. The speed. There goes
Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Down the inside of Brooklands goes Charles Leclerc, and Yuki Tsunoda gets
and Leclerc's at the 13th out of Yuki.
13th place there from the Red Bull driver. This is the 500th World Championship event that features a Japanese driver, and at the moment Yuki Tsunoda running down in 14th place as Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, it's not Yuki's fault, that it's most of the car's issue. As the car's mostly suited to Verstappen.
It's a long way behind Verstappen as well in 3rd.
That dark car's like a thunderstorm.
For visibility, there is the gap.
There's a yellow flag somewhere.
Running nicely in 4th. He is very
Hadjar's gone off him with Antonelli.
Isaac Hadjar on the run to Copse has come to a standstill. You can see it on your screen. That's
so
Hadjar's
off.
A yellow flag. And we've got
safety car again.
Hadjar's
in the wall.
Hadjar facing the wrong way and damage to the front of his car.
He dropped it on the way in.
Oh, that's a big one.
Significant damage on the right-hand side, and I'm really glad that he's
dropped on the way in
to say I'm okay.
Yeah,
that's quite the accident there.
Yeah, it's rather a cul-de-sac, isn't it? When you get down there.
That's quite a big impact.
Stop Northampton.
We only need a red flag for that, though, I don't think, because they can just clear that car.
So look, we think he's touched the back of another car, which is why
maybe,
he's lost it on the way in. You don't normally lose it there.
So
Ocon's coming in.
Esteban Ocon now comes into the pit
for new intermediates, it looks like.
Time. Anthony Davidson on our pit wall with all the data and our pit wall race control. What happened to Isaac Hadjar?
Yeah, Crofty, I can just see, he couldn't see the car in front of him.
Oh, that's a problem with visibility. He can't see the car in front. That's what happened to Isaac Hadjar.
The red lights came out of absolutely nowhere.
Oh, that is such bad luck for Racing Bulls.
Antonelli, you believe, Crofty. Antonelli is the one he hit.
Yes, Antonelli who he hit.
With only Esteban Ocon
So the double DNF then for Racing Bulls.
I don't think this is where they would have wanted to have pitted Esteban Ocon. He's lost an awful lot of places, but I get the
Hadjar's alright, he's getting out of a car.
He had no grip, but you wonder why they didn't pit him.
They can easily recover that car though, because it's at the end of the
to that position, but
here we go.
at the back wall at Cobbs.
Make out the red lights, and he went straight into the back of Antonelli, and that's him out.
Agency. I mean, he appeared out of nowhere, man. Oh my God.
And Lewis Hamilton was saying the same thing at turn one, just can't see the car in front.
That's the issue.
Is what it felt like.
So watch Antonelli.
How he stayed on the track, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. To hang on to that.
Did want to stay on the track, Kimi Antonelli.
He was struggling for visibility as well.
They all are.
He was pretty cautious on the throttle, and it's caught Hadjar out.
And this is where George Russell got past Lewis Hamilton.
I think Hamilton got back past him.
Straight. We can move forward a little bit towards Village. Russell gets stuck behind Ocon.
Yeah, Hamilton goes bravely around the outside. Hamilton like two trailer park girls go around the outside, round the outside, round the outside.
Very opportune there from Lewis to get.
And Russell on attack with Ocon.
Effectively. And off he goes, and he's still holding that place ahead of Russell, of course. There's Antonelli. Will he have damage?
That 20's about to begin, so that's what I've got it on that 20.
Square on is really solid.
So Antonelli's got damage, I think, to the back of that Mercedes.
Floor and his rear wing looks fine. His floor will be okay.
So we've got an Alpine with Franco Colapinto and two Racing Bulls with Lawson and
Instant noted, but because Hadjar can see anything, they might as well just give that as no further action. That's a racing incident. Under these conditions, that can happen.
Also out, as I said earlier, the two drivers with career best finishes in Austria out before the end of lap 6.
That's tennis. Why is it Flash score knowing about tennis where I don't even watch tennis?
Cap there as Mercedes-Benz opt for the flat cap.
Yeah, rookie driver, the top one's Behrman, and oh, that is actually a coincidence. All the 4 rookie drivers are out of the race. Don't think we've seen that before. 4 of the 6 rookie drivers are out. We haven't seen that in a one time where the first 4 drivers out of the race are 4 rookies. But to be fair, it is their first time in these massive wet conditions, so yeah. Anna Taylor-Joy is an actress in the pit lane.
Down at Ferrari, so she can listen in to what's being told to
yeah.
Lewis Hamilton.
They best stay in the garage under this weather.
Queen's Gambit, wasn't she? Yeah. Great.
It says it's 20 degrees. Although it's not the hottest they'll get at Silverstone for now.
Right. What's going on? Full safety
Feels like 17, that's what weather's saying at Silverstone. Although it is 20 degrees. Hamilton 368, career race starts. I do think he will reach 400 before his time's up. Although obviously next year he will reach 400.
These conditions are marginal, I have to say. These are... The sun is out, but if it rains again, they'll have to throw another safety car because of the visibility. It's not the standing water now, it's the visibility. As we just saw, it's
yes, the safety car's still out. We can't have a race full of safety cars. If I was him, I'd throw the red flag out and wait until the track's a bit drier.
Definitely benefiting from right tyre choices and safety cars.
If it gets wetter, of course, I'd say throw a red flag out and wait till the track's like, at least intermediate conditions, then go again. But that could take a while. Remember they had to change the Brazilian Grand Prix start time to 12:30 last year because of the ran across the weekend. I mean, Saturday morning it was dry, and then a few hours later it was just full wet.
Yeah, this puddle in turn 2 is a problem. Bert has got his work cut out for him even in the safety car, so it's not very nice in F1 car.
Yeah, not wrong there, Oscar.
That's a left kink that's normally kind of nothing, basically.
They become proper corners in these sort of conditions, especially if there's a river running across it. And
yeah.
The thing is, Martin, if there is a bit of a river, it's going to take an awful lot of laps behind the safety car to get rid of it, and it might be worth having the red flag and then you can get the sweepers out and not lose too many more racing laps as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they'll as Antonelli
looks like we're paying Antonelli to have a look at that damage.
Plenty. They have 5 sets of intermediates for a Grand Prix weekend because they haven't used any up until today. So Unusually, they've actually got a full set of inters, of 5 inters to go at, and you get so
Yes, if I have a look at the damage on Antonelli's rear.
Antonelli doesn't have a diffuser. The whole right side of his diffuser is
So Antonelli does not have a diffuser. That'll really cost him.
The Isaac Hadjar didn't go plumb onto the rear crash structure. The right side is gone, and the left side is hanging on.
The left side's hanging on, but he's got no right diffuser.
That really hurt. That is the main part of.
Oh, that's going to be a big one for Antonelli.
The floor. It all gets good when you get to the diffuser at the back.
Yeah.
I think some of
So
that's
Antonelli,
been
although
coming on
Antonelli,
stream.
to become the youngest ever pole sitter, he's got until 2027 to do that. He will do it next year, I can guarantee you, or this year. Although he has already sat on pole once, but he won't become the youngest ever Sunday F1 pole sitter.
A couple of 100 miles an hour, but
He's already the youngest pole sitter.
That will destroy the rear downforce of the car to all intents and purposes.
As and when it gets dry, he's really going to start to feel that. Will Kimi Antonelli. Podium, of course, in Canada, but that's his only points finish in the last 5 races.
Yeah, that was clever from Mercedes. Hot tires now to restart. Yeah, copy.
Is that Ocon saying I'd quite like to come in and get some hot tyres myself?
No, he sees Antonelli behind him on hot tyres, but he doesn't know that Antonelli's rear floor is broken.
But if Ocon is running second from last at the moment, wouldn't you get him in for some hotter tyres?
He's not long pitted, has he? Ocon. They didn't take the first safety car, if you remember, and sort of took the second one and lost it, went from 7th to last effectively. So it was lap 18 when Ocon pitted last.
So Norris on board with him. That rain's going towards that side, but not the track side, but the other side. So looks like there's going to be no massive rain. Verstappen!
Goes ahead of Piastri. Now, he's almost got ahead earlier.
Yeah, safety car ending.
Piastri's absolutely put the anchors on.
That could be down to Piastri again, putting the anchors on.
Just gone ahead of him.
Piastri's the de facto safety car. But you're not
He's gone for it.
accelerate and brake.
That's the right one. No, not on lap 23.
Oh, he's round.
Oh, Verstappen's round!
Spins, and the safety car
Verstappen spins.
comes to an end. We get going, and Max Verstappen spins around and has lost 8 places.
Yeah, he's lost 8 places with that.
Battling away with Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, and his rights in the middle.
So it's down to 9th now. It's down to 10th now. 10th, yeah.
The brakes on, and that safety car infringement. Verstappen is now down in 10th. Piastri leads.
Yeah, Piastri leads. Verstappen down in 10th.
Race control can look exactly what Piastri did with throttle and brakes and steering, and see if he unduly slowed down.
It could have been better, yeah.
We'll get on to that again in a minute. Verstappen is in a world of pain now.
Safety car infringement noted.
Spin. But if you remember Barcelona, as he goes wide again, and this is going to allow Alex Albon on the inside to get past the Red Bull and onto the Wellington straight. And Verstappen now down into 11th.
Albon had a big slide though going on to Wellington straight, and that's allowed Verstappen to have a look back.
Yeah, Verstappen's having a look on the inside again.
Comes down the inside, then they go wheel to wheel through Brooklands.
Verstappen takes the place back.
Generating a bit more heat into his tyres now, and finding a
There's another yellow. Behrman's gone.
Yellow flag very briefly for the Haas of Ollie Behrman.
That's Behrman.
Is sliding its way through the grass.
Yeah.
And onto the track, down in about 15th place as he makes his way back onto the track. Do you remember Barcelona, Martin? Safety car restart there. Oscar Piastri had Verstappen behind him, and he slowed everything down to a crawl because he wanted Verstappen to lose temperature in his tyres, and it worked for him then. And I wonder if he was trying to do the same thing.
Things worked again here.
It's up to him to control the speed. They've got to let the safety car get away.
Yeah. Team radio.
Oh, mate. He's a cylinder against his dog.
Yeah, I think Piastri might be in trouble for that.
Yeah, Piastri might be in trouble for that.
Too much slowing down there.
And then this happened on the exit.
And then Max, obviously a little bit frustrated, hits the loud pedal too much, coming out of Stowe and rounding up. He's generally struggling for grip. But,
yeah, he's generally struggling. He needs slick tyres, he does, Verstappen.
But you become the safety car.
Yeah.
And you
So Behrman got tapped around by Sonoda.
And he almost collected Sonoda, I think, there.
It was very quick, he knew where he was heading. So you've got to slow down to let the safety car get away.
It's up 23.
If you nail it in a Formula 1 car, the next thing is you...
Lance Stroll's in third, he's on the podium.
Corner. So you do, as the leader of the pack, slow down, but that was by a lot.
Box to retire the car. Ante can't continue with that.
Retire from this race. The one thing it says in the race you can't do is drive erratically, correct, behind the safety car.
That's what Piastri's done.
What he was trying to do was to force Verstappen to slow down to a crawl and lose a load of temperature.
You're under investigation. Piastri's going to get a penalty here.
Not have that grip to follow.
Looks like Piastri here will get a penalty.
See the tactic. It worked in Barcelona. I mean, it worked here. But I'm with you, Martin. He could be in a spot to bother with the stewards on that.
It's high risk for Piastri as well to do that because somebody slamming into the back there is not out of the question.
Yeah, not out of the question it is.
Under investigation leads from Norris. Lance Stroll, who hadn't run in the top 4 this season, is now running in the top 3.
Yeah.
Nico Hülkenberg runs 4th and Gasly runs 5th. Hamilton 6th and chasing Pierre Gasly.
The track's drying though.
Then comes Russell and Alonso.
Yeah, the track's definitely drying.
Verstappen in 10th after getting past Williams and now setting off.
Hamilton's going for on Gasly here for sure.
A second off it down the hangar straight we go. You can barely see behind Nico Hülkenberg the Alpine of Gasly and the Ferrari of Hamilton when they come into view. Hamilton
not ahead yet.
They're standing water now. Lewis looks an awful lot happier in the Ferrari.
What the hell's this?
It's only a matter of time, you think, before Pierre Gasly is going to see that Ferrari go.
No, I didn't want that.
With him.
You have 24, so now the tracks are less wetter. Hamilton's more happier. Yeah, what a race we've had.
But the McLarens are checking out.
Yeah, they are.
In the 42s.
So Piastri gets a penalty here. Norris will leave the British Grand Prix. And Stroll will be second, and Hülkenberg will be third. Imagine that, Hülkenberg getting his first podium in F1 in a Sauber. I mean, he's done brilliantly this year so far in that car. Let's get a podium, that we just goated from Hülkenberg.
For the rest of this afternoon, my garden absolutely loves this water, and I'm sure you as racing fans do too, because we are being treated to an epic British Grand Prix here as into Brooklands we go.
Yeah, another epic.
Ahead of Hamilton.
So it's only now 4 wets in the Copse corner.
In the Mercedes, and the Mercedes looks a quicker car than the Ferrari in these conditions.
Yeah, it does.
Woodcote, and what used to be the final corner, and onto the old pit straight we go.
It's now turn 8, that is.
He's not necessarily under pressure from Hamilton. Has George Russell got enough momentum?
Oh, Hamilton's off.
Hamilton goes wide. He's got the momentum there to now go wheel to wheel. And before we get into maggots, take the place.
Yeah, Russell got 6th now.
Russell's up to 6th.
Yeah, he had a big slide through the middle of Copse corner.
Yeah, Copse is the wettest part of the circuit.
Turn left in a right-hander to stop the car from spinning around, and that's lost him the position.
Yeah.
This is just the kind of day where the lesser fancy teams in the second half of the grid can score big points.
Yeah, they can.
Martin 3rd. We got Sauber 4th, and we got Alpine 5th. They're in tremendous
25.
positions right now.
George Russell into Copse.
Yeah, the wettest part of the circuit.
Then he could, because it was going wide and off the track, and he takes.
Yeah, he took the place.
And as that happens, a 10-second penalty
for Oscar Piastri. Piastri, yeah.
Safety car infringement. We thought he might be in trouble. The race leader leads by 3 seconds.
10-second time penalty.
Take another 10 seconds to add to his race time. Lando Norris is the de facto leader of the British Grand Prix, unless Oscar Piastri can build up a 10-second gap.
Yeah, World Championships at stake.
Team Radio Hamilton.
This car's so hard to drive, mate. It's snappy like crazy.
And
Hamilton saying the car's had to drive.
Fair enough from the stewards, because that was just too much from Oscar down.
Wheel spin. Hamilton had wheel spin at turn 4.
Pack behind him. The regulations are very clear. But the kind of pace he's been showing, you know what? He can drive 10 seconds.
Yeah, he can.
George Russell's after Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, Russell could still get a podium here for his home Grand Prix.
Very much a man on a mission. Piastri leads from Norris. Lance Stroll, 3 podium positions, finishes in his career. Is he on for a 4th here today?
Or can Hülkenberg get his first?
Nico Hülkenberg right behind him. Nico Hülkenberg, 238 Grand Prix, the most by any driver.
Yeah, to not get a podium.
Finish. Could he be on for a dream British Grand Prix here? But there's an awful long way to go.
There still is, yeah.
And our Sky Pit Wall.
Just quickly on Piastri Norris fight, Crofty. Piastri has got the speed advantage.
Yeah, he has.
In high-speed corners. I'm looking at the data trace here. Lando claws a little bit back through Stowe towards the end of that turn 15.
So there's an investigation now as well.
If he's to close that gap to his teammate in these particular conditions.
George Russell closing in on Pierre Gasly. Gasly's causing a little bit of a bottle.
Yeah, he is.
which is an absolute joy for Nico Hulkenberg.
Keep race series Piastri for now, unless, you know. Then obviously when he does pit, I'll change to Norris.
He will be a faster car than them.
I agree. But McLaren still 2-3 seconds a lap faster than the bulk of the field.
Yeah.
They're flying away. And as Anthony was saying, Piastri half a second, well, nearly half a second faster on that previous lap.
Yeah, it is what it is for.
Came on. The safety car was coming in. Piastri thought, no, I'm going to let you go, but that was too much.
Yeah, too much from Piastri.
It looked pretty obvious as well. Zach Brown is watching on from the McLaren pit wall. We're just seeing a replay again. We can understand what Oscar was trying to do, Zach, but I think that's a fair cop, right?
Well, we're debating that here on pit wall. That was a bit of a late safety car call in, and leader controls the race.
Yeah, so Behrman's now here, so now Sonoda's last. It's not good for Japan in their 500th Grand Prix with a Japanese driver getting involved in F1.
Can you protest that effectively right now?
Yep, that's exactly the conversation that we're having.
Can you give us an idea then of the deceleration? If the telemetry said it didn't look
so
as
McLaren
bad,
protesting my instant right now.
Speed?
I don't know. I didn't look at it in that detail.
Hamilton's having a look at George Russell now. Hamilton needs a podium here to get his Ferrari career off and running. Obviously, he already won a sprint in China.
It did look in these conditions to be a little.
Hamilton's going for it.
Hamilton goes through on Russell.
Yeah, it looked tricky. I think you also had Max accelerating.
Russell getting back here though. No.
Ready to go, so I think he had a
this is Hamilton's conditions visa, drying track. Now we can go for it. This happened last year on drying track. Yeah, they can't double stack with that penalty on Piastri.
Under investigation for causing a collision.
No, what they're saying is we can't double stack because we can't work on the car for 10 seconds. So we have a 14-second gap like that. So if Piastri pits first, if he sits and goes nowhere for 10 seconds.
Yeah, that'll be what happens.
Touch the car with the jack, with a hand or anything.
So Yuki Tsunoda has been given a 10-second penalty as well for causing a collision.
So Tsunoda's now got a 10-second penalty. So Red Bull, not Verstappen, Tsunoda's now got a 10-second penalty for causing a collision with Ollie Behrman.
A 10-second penalty. This is the Red Bull team whose 77 race streak of point-scoring finishes came to an end.
Yeah, it did.
Austria, and they were having a wretched British Grand Prix, sadly for them at the moment. Gasly's got a bit of battery power here to defend from Lewis Hamilton. Has used up a little bit more of his battery on this particular lap, but
Hamilton's used more of his battery trying to get close.
Whoa,
Hamilton another side. But he saves it that time.
Like a weevil, but he won't fall down. Going through Chapel, and on now to the hangar straight he goes. Under the bridge, you can see those red lights in the distance. That's the only reference point he's got. There's a car ahead. Until he closes up like that.
You see the difference in visibility from the onboard camera to the overhead. We looked down through about a metre of spray.
It's over halfway through this race now, but now ever since it started.
100 metres of spray. That's why they can see so
this race could last
much
an hour and 35 minutes plus, yeah. Team Radio.
The safety car restart, we've been given a 10-second penalty for the braking on the straight before the safety car restart. You have a 17-second gap to Stroll. Head down. We want to try and pull as much of a gap as we can.
Yeah, you might lose first here, but you shouldn't lose second. As I say, Gasly using his battery to defend against Hamilton. We saw that down that Wellington straight.
So what McLaren will be hoping they could do is get rid of that 10-second penalty, serve it before if there's another safety car, for example. Otherwise, they're in a world of pain at that time.
They are. But I don't think it's going to be any more rain for the rest of the race. Team Radio.
I can't even stay with him. It's so slow.
That's the trouble. Now he's getting in a lot of dirty turbo air. Max Verstappen, he's just not making the progress that he was when he was out in front.
So Verstappen not making the progress that he'd like to make.
So onwards they go once more towards Maggots and Beckett. So we can look at this 10-second penalty for Yuki Tsunoda. And that's Ollie Behrman on the right-hand side. We saw Ollie Behrman going off.
Yeah, so they can't really do much of his aquaplaning.
And I did wonder. He almost collected Yuki as he came back on the track. I wonder why Ollie had gone off, and it was contact.
Thought he spun on his own at first, but then I realised there was contact with Yuki. At 29. Hamilton go around the outside. Gasly cuts him off though.
Losing a bit of front wing there as Pierre Gasly defended and pushed him to the extremities of the track. It's a great little scrap going on here from Pierre Gasly. He's doing pretty wonderful things without Alpine here this weekend. They're last in the Constructors' Championship, but to put that Alpine 8th on the grid was a super performance in qualifying, and a 5th place here would represent a very, very good return.
Yeah, remember Brazil last year where Gasly came out the podium in Alpine and Ocon came second. It was a double Alpine podium, which basically got him 6th in the championship. Well, Gasly's doing it again here in Bahrain.
Maturing into a fine driver, and the Alpine team very lucky to have him. They get a new addition to that team on September the 1st when Steve Nielsen, once their sporting director, will return after stints at Williams and the FIA and Formula One management to become their managing director, the de facto team boss from the 1st of September. And he can't wait, he says, to get going. 3.6 seconds the gap between Piastri and Norris.
Yeah.
They're watching a McLaren is that 15-second gap back to Lance Stroll.
So what Lewis is saying when the car's snappy is it's got grip, and when it lets go, it lets go very quickly indeed.
Yeah, it does.
And he has a job to collect it back up again. So, but he got back past George Russell, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which I kind of
Yeah, he got back past Russell.
to head off down the road a little bit, the way the Merc was performing earlier on in this Grand Prix.
Well, Russell might be getting the chance to have another go.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
If Lewis Hamilton keeps getting thwarted behind Pierre Gasly here, the battle for 5th continues onwards, and at the end of the straight.
Well, Hamilton have a look around the outside again, but he's got closer definitely.
Too far back to make a move, but down towards the Vale chicane.
Yeah, Hamilton's going for it. Hamilton up to 5th now.
Struggling on traction, and Lewis Hamilton, once he sees a gap there,
Yeah, he knew he was going to go for it.
Through he goes, and up into 5th place.
Gasly took a lot of the painted white line on the outside.
Yeah, he
of
did.
the Stowe curb, and it hurt him, and Lewis spotted it straight away. So off he goes into the distance.
Off goes Hamilton off into distance.
4 seconds up the road.
And Hulkenberg a second and a half behind Lance
I wonder what a weather radar is. It looks a lot dry now, but it's not intermediate yet. Not intermediate. 6 yet.
Ted Kravitz, you'd have had that on your bingo card for one of the top 3 places this weekend.
I just want Hulkenberg.
So it looks like Hamilton and Russell could be battling now for a podium place if the track gets dry. It could be those two in battling for a podium.
Director and the stewards, I mean, they might not get anywhere with this, but the precedent was in Canada, wasn't it, Crofty?
Yeah, Canada.
George Russell was investigated for braking too hard and Max overtaking him then. That was 30 psi. The stewards then in Canada said 30 psi was not excessive. So if Piastri was way above 30 psi,
yeah,
McLaren would be able to tell the stewards that now, then they've got a case. And if it was far above PSA, if it was 130, then McLaren won't have a case.
Yeah, they
10
wouldn't.
seconds is quite harsh. McLaren might reflect. After all, wasn't it 10-second penalty that Max got for ramming into George in Spain?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, but the guidelines are there, available for all to see on the FIA website, and that's what the stewards will work from. And
Hamilton's already pulled 2 seconds on Gasly. He's done a lap.
And actually publishing those guidelines so we can all see when a decision is made, what the punishment's going to be.
They need mitigating circumstances to drop that to 5 seconds, or indeed no penalty at all.
Yeah.
Quite sure what
It's like 31, so let's change it.
It was almost stationary, wasn't it? I hear what Zach is saying. You know, Max did flood it down the outside to emphasise, but that was extremely slow for Moscow.
Yeah, it was slow for Moscow.
Yeah, it looked from our camera angle, so, but they'll have that to the nth degree in the data.
There's a 125. I haven't done Breaking Point episode 2 yet. I've been saying I was going to do it, but I just forgot to do it. I may do it sometime in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Actually, in August, I will try and get Breaking Point 3 finished.
DRS not available currently, is now within a second of Lance Stroll. Hulkenberg on the previous lap had pulled 7/10 of a second out of Stroll's advantage. Just looking at how long the tyres have been on. Hulkenberg's been on his tyres for 1 lap longer. There he is in the Sauber. There is
There's Lance Stroll.
In the Aston Martin, the British racing green and the slightly more lurid green from the Swiss Sauber. Scrapping away. Sauber team with how many podiums? 10 podiums.
Yeah, 10 podiums for Sauber.
Career, and what's the last season that we see the Sauber name in Formula 1 before they become Audi?
Yeah, well, that's for now at least.
Aston Martin, a team with 9 podiums and a best result of seconds.
That was Alonso in 2023 in Monaco in Canada, and Vettel in 2021 when he got podium in Baku. Over 3 years since Vettel's last podium.
On the previous lap as he looked after his tyres a little bit better. It's very much a 2-horse race out front. McLaren in these conditions absolutely flying.
Yeah, McLaren are flying in these conditions.
Now Piastri with his 10 seconds, he still finishes second right now at this stage of the Grand Prix as we home in towards the final 20 laps.
Yeah.
Crossover round about 1 minute 40 onto the dry tyres.
1 minute 40.
It's starting to dry now. Temps are coming up on the track.
And
so track is
heading
drying.
Towards with a decent lap here. Lando Norris is proving, getting into the 1 minute 41. So the temperatures are rising, but still nowhere near the dry tyres.
Still nowhere near dry tyres, but we are getting closer.
He has to stop again in this race. I get the feeling
So I think after the pit stops, Norris will be in prime position to win his home Grand Prix for the first time.
Choice, Martin, if it is suitable for drives to go on to it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, as soon as you use the intermediates, the obligation to use 2 different types of slick compound falls away, and that's where we find
Yeah, so if you're on intermediates, then I don't think you have to use both sets of dry compounds, especially if the track starts wet, then you don't have to use both. But if there's run at any part of the race, I don't think you have to use both dry compounds. So you can just then go, start with softs, go on into for most of the race, and then end it on softs.
You're torturing the compound again.
Lance Stroll is not that far away now from Nico Hülkenberg, who's continuing.
Hülkenberg's flying along here.
Aston Martin. Hülkenberg in 4th, which is his best career finish so far in Spa in 2016, in Korea in 2013, and in Spa in 2012. And it's not that he hasn't run in the podium places before. He's done it 177 laps across his career.
He hasn't stood on a podium though. Team Radio.
It's drying, but very slowly. Still not close to slicks.
I think we're looking at 1 minute 35 as the crossover before you would.
Someone in 35 to crossover for slick tyres. I honestly wish I could keep on these lap times. Hang on a minute.
Clear and clean for them, but too early at this time. But if it stays like this, if it doesn't rain again, they will go on slicks.
Thing is, if we can't get down to a 135,
that's for goddamn track times.
He has to stop again. What Piastri needs is to build a 28, 29 second gap to Lance Stroll, so that 10-second penalty doesn't take him behind Stroll. He's not going to be able to do much at this rate to stay ahead of his teammate Lando Norris.
Right, here we go.
As you've mentioned, is closing in on him, and George Russell is starting to close in once again on Pierre Gasly. Gasly's losing a heap of time behind Lewis.
Right, here we go. So this is live lap time. So last lap was 142 from Piastri.
Hamilton is starting to close in a bit on
142.0. Norris was a second faster.
But then he might find Hamilton is there to try and deny him.
So McLaren's doing it to Stowe now.
Starting to look for the wetter parts of the track already then, Pierre Gasly.
Well, McLaren's already through Stowe, I think. Yeah, they are.
So it's a compound that's designed.
Hamilton's gained on these two. So if Hülkenberg wants the podium, he's got to get ahead quickly.
Operating temperatures because it's sloshing through water. That means it gives up horribly when it gets hot.
Meanwhile, Max Verstappen still down in 10th place.
Yeah, 53 minutes left of race time. No one being inside for Russell. Yeah, Gasly's putting up a really strong fight here.
Yeah, it's a tough time. So, Verstappen's got an exit clause, we believe, at the end of this month.
Yeah.
With regard to championship positions, and right now he's got 1 World Championship point there, so now to none. It's a difficult phase here for Red Bull.
Yeah.
Well, if he has to stay in the top 3, he will do that if things remain as they are. But George Russell will be a lot closer to him, behind him as Hülkenberg.
Yeah, as it stands, yeah.
Going
and obviously during the rest of the race, Russell will keep gaining places.
A little bit quicker on the last lap of Carlos.
He's going for Russell.
Now we're on board with George Russell. Just see from the driver's eye view here how he's searching all the time for an opening for a
He's trying to get around me outside of Gasly. That's brave from Russell, but it won't work.
To put the Alpine right where he doesn't want it to be, but this is going to be hard to defend because Russell's got a great launch.
Yeah, he's going for it in Cops.
And this is bravery for you. On the inside, through the right, and into Cops corner we go.
But Gasly stays ahead. DRS enabled.
Shut once again, and behind George Russell, Fernando Alonso is like, hang on, mate, you've been compromised by this. I might fancy a bit of seventh place.
Yeah, he may fancy Alonso.
With the tighter angle into the corner.
DRS enabled. Here goes Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg getting up into third place. DRS down the straight. Can he keep that? Yes, he can.
He can. Hulkenberg's on the podium.
Yeah, normal grip conditions were announced about 3 corners before Hulkenberg arrived at Stowe or onto the hangar straight. He used it to great effect there. And Stroll now is under pressure.
Stroll's now under pressure from Hamilton.
Sir Lewis Hamilton straight we go towards turn 1. And Lance Stroll's grip on third place has come to an end. And he might be about to lose 4th here. But how long can he keep Hamilton at bay?
Yeah, how long can he keep Hamilton at bay? Verstappen's having a look at signs.
That will help Nico Hulkenberg.
Hamilton's going for it.
Inside goes Lewis Hamilton at Village, slides his Ferrari out of that corner and makes his way around and onto the Wellington straight in 4th place. And don't forget, Lewis Hamilton coming into this race with a record of 12, yes, count them, 12 consecutive podium finishes here at Silverstone.
Now can make it 13.
So not only is third place going to be very tasty in the first Grand Prix podium for Ferrari, but it will keep the record going
Verstappen.
here in his home Grand Prix. And while we talked about that, Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, now that Verstappen's got a bit of DRS, have swapped places.
Yeah, they have.
Down the inside he goes.
That skinny rear.
It's a nice place for Verstappen.
Low downforce has hurt Max in these conditions. He's had a few adventures. That's what they decided to do for qualifying. It worked beautifully in qualifying. So Piastri is 28 seconds ahead of Hulkenberg, 29 ahead of Stroll. So if he were to pit now and serve his 10-second penalty, he would come out in 3rd or 4th place.
3rd or 4th Piastri would come out if he served a penalty now.
Lose out to Hamilton as well. So they need some more fast laps out of Piastri, and they're getting them.
Yeah, they're getting them. McLaren are getting them out of Piastri.
Gasly pulls over to the left-hand side. George Russell's got DRS, but he can't gain a place going into Stowe, which has become a really good place to overtake in recent years here at Silverstone. With DRS
Stowe has.
Down that hangar straight. Fernando Alonso is very much in touch. Out in front, 2.2 seconds. The gap between Piastri and Norris, and a long, long way back to Nico Hulkenberg, who's holding on to 3rd. Lewis Hamilton now starting to pick up the pace.
So Russell's now 10 seconds behind Hamilton.
I said on the grid, didn't I? It's like, oh, we've gone a little bit deep in those Gasly, but it's like waiting for an avocado to ripen for a track to dry out. It'll always take longer than you think, and you'll almost certainly miss the moment, like you do with an avocado.
Like a Vista Leclerc.
That's where we are right now.
I'll have some of this. This is brilliant racing today. Charles Leclerc down the inside on Alex Albon. Well, there was half a gap, and he made sure that he could squeeze his Ferrari through it. By the time Albon tried to close the door, he was going to make contact.
Leclerc got that gap sorted, and up to 11th goes Charles Leclerc, so points can still be on it for Leclerc.
Sauber ahead of Ferrari. Ferrari powered Sauber, which was the fastest Ferrari
Team
powered
radio.
car on the grid last year.
Track conditions update, anything?
Yeah. Track's pretty decent. Starting to dry up a bit.
Hamilton's in DRS range.
Nice. 5 10 laps.
Yeah, we're down into the 1-minute 40s for our leader.
Yeah, there'll be a crossover shortly. I'd say shortly. But yeah, shortly there will be a crossover.
4th highest scoring team in the past 3 Grand Prix. Going into this race, they'd scored more than Red Bull in the past 3 Grand Prix.
Yeah, Norris goes fastest, 140.7.
Yeah, data suggests, Property, that it's going to be like candy from a baby when Hamilton catches Nico Hulkenberg, because the straight line speed of Hamilton's car, despite, like you said, both running the Ferrari power unit, is much higher than that of Nico Hulkenberg, even without DRS. So I fear for Nico's podium position at the moment. It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time.
With speed, and obviously the Ferraris.
Rebecca Ferguson, another actress in the Ferrari garage.
A lot of activity with the Ferraris on track, and a lot of anxious faces watching from the Ferrari garage too, as we can put the
Lewis. Come on.
Hulkenberg and Hamilton onto your screen for you as well. And Charles Leclerc closing in.
Leclerc's closing on Sainz.
Here for the final points position. Verstappen, meanwhile, just ahead of that.
So there's 11 seconds off Ocon, so Snow's definitely going to finish last here.
Back up through the field. Hamilton on this lap has taken half a second, and Nico Hülkenberg through the first sector alone. He's still not quite within DRS. What he needs is a really good Maggotts and Beckett's. By the time he gets to the
He needs a good Maggotts and Beckett's. Hamilton does.
Through Chapel, he is within a second, and he is going to get
No, 38 now.
behind Hülkenberg, going then onto the Hangar Straight, where the crowds are lining on either side here and roaring Lewis Hamilton on towards Stowe.
If there's a stop go penalty, Piastri would be there. Yeah, if it was a stop and go penalty instead of a time penalty. But he's lucky it was just a time penalty.
Just took added a half a second to his lead there, cracking that 140.3.
140.3 for Piastri, cracking that back is by him.
The final pit stop phase to get some dry tyres. We're not quite there yet. Would be a touch too risky. Presumably McLaren will pit Piastri first. That might buy him.
So Alonso's coming for Aston Martin. They're going for Vea.
Because he'll get them earlier. It's so close yet.
And brave, we want to be. Running in P7.
Brave, but not suicidal. We're still looking.
But Ted, Aston Martin are in with Alonso.
So maybe sort of, well, guided or chided maybe by that earlier radio message. They've said, all right, Fernando, we're going to give you what we did to Lance earlier on. Put him on the slick tyres early, see how you go. Alonso, the guinea pig out there, let's see how he goes. I've got to say, Crofty, it was
he's going to drop more. So this could actually favour Fernando as the race goes on.
When the sun came out, and now the track, because of that, is really starting to dry out.
Yeah, track's really starting to drive now.
Touch as well, but who dares wins, Rodney? Let's see how that works for Fernando Alonso. The way this is looking, all the while that Hamilton is behind Hülkenberg, that's going to help Oscar Piastri, because the minute Hamilton gets clear of Hülkenberg, that advantage Piastri's got over third place is going to start to come down.
Yeah, it will.
So
Hamilton's close here.
Piastri's got, and as Norris responds into the 1:39s now, track is really
1:39s.
So as soon as they get 32 seconds ahead,
is Alonso losing time?
He can make his pit stop and still come out. So
hang on.
10-second penalty.
Yes or no? No! Well, no, that's a yeah, it looks like. I thought I said no, but it is a yeah. Yep, it is a yes. He's losing time, he's just lost place with Tsunoda.
So what Aston Martin have done is a really big favour to McLaren to give them some data on how the...
So they're going for down Mercedes.
Indeed. So it looks a bit iffy, doesn't it, in places. So Russell is going to take a gamble.
From P7, George Russell comes into the pits.
So Aston Martin Stroll to stay out.
His third stop of the race. His first stop was before it all got going.
Yeah, before it all got going, yeah.
Tumbling down the order, and it really was too wet for the slick tyres. By the time he comes back out, he's going to be...
It's all into it a minute. I don't know what they were doing pitting Alonso. Looks like Russell decided to go for it.
So he's got a lot to do, but as the track's drying out, others are going to be pitting as well, and Lando Norris is still gaining on Oscar Piastri out in front.
He needs to, threading the eye of the needle on those.
We're going hard on Russell.
You've got to keep that temperature on that sort of goat track with a drier line. But if you run wide...
Well, there's Russell going off.
As we saw Antonelli do earlier in the race, in similar circumstances. If you run wide, you're just carrying far too much speed.
There is.
On a wet track. So that's why you've got a very thin line. You've got to use this sort of zone to warm the tyres up. But through
this is Tsunoda and Alonso.
Struggling to get those tyres working. And it's a double-edged sword. If he's now had to go offline, that cools them again.
Yeah.
And if you,
there's Leclerc and Sainz.
More slowly, and
Leclerc's going down the inside again. And he's doing an Albon, and Leclerc's through. Brilliant move from Leclerc. I knew he got past Sainz, but that was a great move. Team Radio.
He went on the curb and they crashed into it. So it was completely reckless right there.
That wasn't a repeat. That was Charles Leclerc doing exactly the same thing to Carlos Sainz that he did to his teammate. Alex Albon moved out of the way. And
that's Russell.
Russell. And on the slick tyres,
he's got it going again. Nice 360 from George.
It is still way too damp out there.
Yeah, he is.
They made the gamble again, Mercedes. It's not worked out for George Russell again, and that was going through Chapel. And it's a good job there's plenty of runoff there, otherwise he was heading to the barriers.
It's the hard compound tyre, still relatively in the softer range, but that's the one that's hardest to warm up.
Yeah, it is.
It's the biggest challenge. ago. He's going to turn in here and he's just going to swap round on him.
Yeah, he did.
And he's sort of kept the tabs on where he was.
Nice job to keep on track though.
Drove straight onto the hanger straight. So there is very good information. Alonso struggling, Russell struggling on slick tyres. The track is not ready.
Well, they tried, and you don't get anywhere without trying. Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and Toto Wolff's not pleased.
It's not going their way.
Yeah, it's not going Mercedes' way. They're getting no points here.
I'm surprised they didn't just use Alonso as a bit of a guide on that one, and I hadn't seen anything at that point when Russell came into the pits to suggest that the slicks were going to be anywhere near ready. And then, of course, the cameras came to Alonso getting overtaken, left, right, centre, and then we see Russell off. So it was ambitious to say the least.
It's ambitious to say the least, but not. But it's nowhere near dry.
Not even anywhere near where it was earlier on a damp circuit with a drier line.
So these two have got a half a minute lead now.
They have.
Need to take risks.
The Clement Science has been noted that turn 4 incident.
Their two biggest rivals in the drivers' title are having a bad day. Verstappen down in 7th.
Yeah.
And Russell
Hulkenberg's
flying across the
pulling away from Hamilton here. If it stays like this for the rest of the race, Hulkenberg is going to be on for his first podium.
The man who is flying out there at the moment on track and in all the right places is Lando.
So is Verstappen. He's not going to catch Hulkenberg before the race is over, that's for sure.
Lando, as I said before, is your de facto leader in this race.
Yeah, he is.
Speed, 1.5 seconds behind his teammate.
I guess Verstappen.
Verstappen goes down the inside on Pierre Gasly.
That's Verstappen to the P6.
And up into 6th as he tries to repair the damage caused by his spin when we got the race underway after the last safety car period. Norris will inherit the lead of this race once his teammate Oscar Piastri either serves a 10-second penalty or has it added on to his race time.
Wait, that's not changing.
Between now and the checkered flag.
There you go.
Investigation. The player on Sainz didn't like it.
No further investigation.
Lando out of DRS. If he gets in DRS without penalty, it'll be do not make it too difficult.
Right, so that's one side of the garage.
It will be do not make it too
Yeah, 139.
Don't fight him.
Yeah.
Is that 42 now, actually?
What they don't want is Piastri having to move over for his teammate.
Yeah, that's what they don't want. Down at McLaren.
And Lando inheriting the lead on the track.
Hamilton's pitting.
Can't get past Nico Hulkenberg at the moment, so Ferrari are throwing caution to the ever stiff breeze here and pitting him. Ted Kravitz.
Been watching Hamilton's lap times, and they just completely fell off. His inters were completely gone.
Yeah.
He's got a set of softs on, but that has been.
Yeah, they're all pitting. Red Bull also coming in.
Hulkenberg, which means he's got a bit of a cushion. Now Lance Stroll comes in, and Max Verstappen.
It's only dry in Stowe though. So the part of those cops are the wettest.
This is something for McLaren to think about now. Everyone's diving in for slicks.
Yeah, everyone is.
Such a cushion at 34 seconds ahead. They don't need to take a risk.
They don't.
Just see what goes on.
We'll see what happens anyway.
What kind of grip they find now. The last two drivers that tried it have struggled.
Yeah.
Let's see how Lewis Hamilton gets on.
Well,
there's Leclerc.
By his teammate, Charles Leclerc.
That distance in one corner. You wonder if you couldn't just cruise to the end on the inters or much nearer the end than this. But so as I said, they come out of blankets at 70C.
This Noah's in now.
Waiting for the pit stop. You trundle down the pit lane onto a wet track, and they're really cold by the time you get there.
This is Hamilton. He made his pit stop, comes out, picks up a bit of water offline, then goes off.
Oh, it's going off.
Struggling for any grip. Tyres are getting even colder, getting even damper, and to add kind of insult to injury,
there's a 58.
He's going to get past him here as Hamilton goes.
That's Leclerc going off.
I think Leclerc might have gone off, and then Hamilton has gone off himself. Either way, there goes Leclerc coming in now. Either way, Leclerc is ahead of him.
Yeah, Leclerc's ahead.
Leading from Norris here.
Hulkenberg's pitted.
Now pits. So they're all deciding that
it seems too early, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
They're going out of the pits and going straight off the road. It just seems too early. But
this is going to be slow for the
It's slow as they go on track.
I just don't get why the top three aren't staying out on the inters for at least a couple more laps. You say they've got the cushion, Martin. They have got the cushion.
Leclerc's pitted.
Cushion out front. They can wait until they see. So Alonso's fastest of the Grand Prix.
This could finally be for Hulkenberg.
but it's only really matching the McLarens at the moment.
Yeah.
So the slicks and Alonso not as quick as McLaren in the middle sector quite. So we're nearly there, but it's a 35.
Piastri's pitting.
And they're gonna do
So I got to keep Norris out.
Hits it.
For Oscar Piastri.
That's Verstappen going off.
Yeah, Leclerc came in after his teammate. Hamilton's back up the 4th. He's now going to be hunting down Hulkenberg, who is on for a podium finish here.
Yeah, Hulkenberg is.
Hamilton can stop him in the next 7 laps. Right, nothing is going to happen for 10 seconds.
Lando, Oscar will hit this lap and we will go past once.
Because they can't double stack, because then Lando would lose all this time while nothing is happening, because Oscar Piastri's got to serve his penalty. So whilst it's not ideal for Lando, Norris is going to be the net gainer when Piastri comes back out. And he will come back out.
I'm going to try to be driving. Norris pits in.
And Behrman's had a spin as well.
Behrman's had a spin.
Momentarily, but continues.
Was it with Ocon?
It's Ocon as well.
Both the Haas cars are gone.
It feels like a risk. A risk to me for the...
Was that both Haas cars went.
To do that. Behrman and Ocon came together apparently in the 2 Haas's. So it may not just be a slip thing, it may be contact as well. So what will they said they're going to pull Lando Norris in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Working nicely, but yeah, it just seems like an unnecessary.
So what happened here?
Yeah. So this is Ollie Behrman behind Esteban Ocon. Goes down the inside and Ocon just cuts across and.
Ocon man cut across there, so both Haas cars are collided.
That was all a bit unfortunate actually, because Ocon had to sort of swerve, didn't he? Because
Yeah, let's have a look here. So it's behind the 2 Williams cars.
Warming his tyres up. His teammate then came across.
Yes, Behrman going into Ocon.
To the wet part of the track, and they met in the middle. That was all very unfortunate.
At 45. Norris is in.
Lando Norris is the leader of this race. Oscar Piastri,
Yeah, they're all gaining now.
Is just making his way down the Hanger Straight. This should be a rudimental, fundamental.
Looks like Norris is going to get this one.
Pit stop, and it's 2.4 seconds. Lando Norris will come out of the pits in a few moments' time and will have just a few laps to go between himself and the checkered flag as the leader of the British.
Yeah, Norris leads. Go on, Lando.
Mistakes are made, or how
Team Radio
fast
Max.
they are.
We're disguised as that problem.
Verstappen's having his balance issues again, which
Yeah, he is.
him all day on Friday, and then he recovered to try and get that pole, which he did in magnificent style on Saturday. The gap between Norris and Piastri.
Those tyres have warmed up though.
6 seconds. Piastri with that 10-second penalty costing him the victory here.
Yeah, and I tell you what,
It
it'll
could be,
take
yeah.
another couple of seconds out on this lap while Lando gets his tyres up to temperature.
Hulkenberg's gone fastest. 4 seconds he's got over Hamilton. It's going to be Hulkenberg's first podium as Alonso goes through on Alex Albon.
This is the battle for 8th place, and Alonso gets that quite
On the much warmer tyres.
Carbon fibre, a bit of bodywork.
Hamilton goes quickest.
Saw that very briefly, and still in 3rd place is Nico Hulkenberg. Lewis Hamilton.
8 laps left. If Hulkenberg loses,
those soft tyres
yeah,
are now starting to work well, but he's got
they are.
7.5 seconds.
7.5 seconds. He's actually lost a bit of time.
Deny him that first podium.
I think the
Piastri.
was very fair. I mean, I know it's a big question, but if you don't think it was fair either, I think we should swap back and race.
And that is Oscar Piastri very nearly losing it altogether.
Yeah.
I've just got to ask the question here, Martin. With such a cushion ahead of 3rd place, did they need to pit? Either of them?
They've been saying that for about 10 minutes, haven't they? But what Piastri's saying there is, if the team don't think that his 10-second penalty was fair, they should swap the drivers back. I don't think Norris is going to buy into that concept.
No, I don't think Lando's going to buy into that.
Not at all.
Look what happened here to Piastri.
Let's just see what happened to Oscar Piastri.
Same as George Russell.
Same as Russell.
Around.
They didn't go round.
Could have been very, very nasty indeed. Thing is, though, before that, Piastri was really gaining.
Yeah, he was.
Lando Norris, and he's not really that far.
So looks like 2 years in a row we got a British driver winning their home race.
Yeah, well, the gap to Oscar's 4.8. He had an off. Just be careful out there.
Well, tell me where, don't just say that.
It's a fair point.
Fair point, definitely.
It's a fair point.
I actually enjoyed this one.
they're free to race. This race might
Well, tell me when. Don't just say that.
For the victory.
Gap 8 seconds between Hulkenberg and Hamilton. It's down to 6.8 now. Back to 7.
Now 7 seconds behind him.
Looking good for Hulkenberg there. He's got
Looking
good
really good.
pace.
And yeah, fresher tyres in the last few laps of the race.
You know what? This is the British Grand Prix.
It's absolute finest.
Race fans come here this weekend, and I don't think a single one of them would be upset if Hulkenberg hangs on to this podium.
Yeah.
place.
He'll be kicked out as maybe final podium in F1 as well, with them going to Audi next year. And Verstappen now going off the grid entirely.
Norris going to have to find some pace. Got to find some pace.
What happened to Leclerc here?
Yeah,
Oh, he went off in Stowe.
Miserable race he's had, hasn't he?
And he, like
Yeah.
George Russell, came in early, very early on in this race.
Another car went off as well.
Change onto the slick tyres, it just hasn't worked out for him. Russell is in the points, he's 10th, he's got Ollie Behrman
Yeah.
behind him.
Aston Martin as well. Pick up a huge haul of points today. This stage as it is.
That was as the race leader, Oscar
Off for 49, 47.
came in for his pit stop.
So Sonoda is the only car lapped at the minute.
Quite the weekend here, who produced a scintillating qualifying, had a 10th place grid penalty because of a red flag infringement, has been off the track, on the track,
Yeah.
left foot in, left foot out here, and yet still might get a point in his home race.
Hamilton goes quickest again. 6 laps left.
So, Norris just had a stonking first sector. He's got some confidence now.
Yeah, he has. It's still very white in Stowe.
1.3 seconds up on Hulkenberg. He'll be with him before the end of the race at that rate.
Stewards in a look at that Esteban Ocon, Ollie Behrman, and
Yeah, they are.
after the race and see if anyone was at fault. Lance Stroll's running in 5th. He's
Yeah, Stroll's got a
about
big haul of
7
points for
seconds
Aston
ahead
Martin here.
and slapping about a 10th of a lap slower, second a lap slower than Max Verstappen currently. Pierre Gasly is holding on to 7th. The
Investigate
last
after a
Albon
race.
Russell complete the top 10. Nico Hulkenberg looks like he's got driver of the day sewn up.
Yeah,
He
looks like he
deserves
has.
driver of the day today. And I'll lead the cheers if Hulkenberg can hang on to this 3rd place.
Yeah.
Because this will be a magnificent story for a man in his 239th Grand Prix to stand on the podium
Yeah.
for the first time.
Norris's lead 5.2.
Hulkenberg on the podium. I don't think any Hamilton fans would mind Hulkenberg being on the podium.
Car 81 penalty served. It's saying just telling us penalty served.
Yeah, penalty served.
For Piastri. So Norris then finding grip, finding confidence, and Hulkenberg, how's he doing on the sector? Tom, he lost 7/10 in the first sector, but Hamilton has had a problem somewhere in the middle sector.
He did exactly what we saw Oscar Piastri
Yeah.
do at Maggots and then to Beckett's. He went off the track.
Hamilton went off the track.
Rejoined again. So that's
Yeah,
what's,
lost 1.5. So Hulkenberg's going to bag here.
Sainz and Leclerc for causing a collision.
Another slide from
Here comes
Piastri.
Ollie Behrman on George Russell, gaining as we head down into Stowe. No room past there. And we're on board, but Oscar Piastri swinging that McLaren into Cops, where he is.
Oscar, we're not going to do any team orders. It's just
5 laps at the end. Looks like Lando here will pull more points back, and it'll be 8 points of Piastri going to a Belgian Grand Prix. Both driver a day. It's got to be Hulkenberg, hasn't it?
What to do at McLaren.
All of them are Hulkenberg.
Race freely, but just not instill any animosity, especially at this stage of the season. Because Martin, after this, we've got a whole second half to come.
Yeah, when the checkered flag.
No, it's aiming for a win. Hamilton chasing third.
We've got 4 more sprints to come as well out for 6 this year, but look at this. Behrman catching the works Mercedes of George
Yeah.
Russell. He's been so fast, hasn't he? That 10th place grid drop, which he described as silly.
Yeah.
What he did, not why that he got the penalty.
At 49.
Um,
And Norris is on course here for his first British Grand Prix victory.
You know, you can
And his
start
4th win of
drivers making
2025.
mistakes. You can't necessarily make them fast like Behrman appears to be.
He has a huge amount of potential for the future. Yeah, like you, Martin, I think they'll smooth out the rough edges. That's what a rookie season
Yeah.
is all about.
So rookie season's all about.
A long and successful career in Formula One. We're on lap
So Norris will go
49,
5-4 Piastri on wins.
52. McLaren are on for a 1-2 finish here this afternoon.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris leads Oscar Piastri.
And Hulkenberg's on course for his first podium.
Hamilton, Stroll, and then this battle, Verstappen and Gasly for 6th and 7th. Alonso, Albon and Russell complete the top 10. Behrman is only half a second outside the points. And Ted Kravitz, we can head down to you.
Yeah.
So many great stories, keeping an eye on Hulkenberg's lap times. He's just driving brilliantly
Nice, 1:29.7.
Whatever, but Hamilton's soft tyres starting to wear out a little bit.
Yeah, they are.
Stalling his charge to the Sauber in front. And let's give credit to Lance Stroll, shall we, Crofty? He hasn't had much to smile about, broken wrist and all. But after an operation, he's driven brilliantly today.
Yeah, he has.
This will put a smile
For
on his face,
once,
surely.
Stroll's actually driven pretty well.
Team's home race.
He needs to keep an eye on Max Verstappen. Behind him, though, does Lance Stroll. He'll be right with him at that
Alonso's
race.
tyres are gone too, because Albon's catching.
Final tour, McLaren, still with a half
50.
advantage. But Nico Hülkenberg, he should have won the Brazilian Grand Prix, I think, before India made a lunge.
Yeah, he should have.
If I remember, and he's had opportunities, but let's hope he's finally going to get his podium.
Yeah, let's hope. 3 to go.
Running in the top 3 places there and spun out.
Wasn't guaranteed anyone's going to get a podium because it all still changed.
But if you keep on trying, eventually it will come.
Yeah, eventually will come. Do or do not. There is no try. Shout out to Master Yoda.
The very best drivers on the grid.
Only different in your mind. I'll finally give it a try. Now! Do or do not. There is no try.
Well, I'm sure he is just keeping everything crossed between now and the
Yeah, so too is Lando.
I'm sure is Lando Norris as well. Came into this race weekend off the back of an excellent Austria.
Yeah.
Saw his teammate qualify ahead of him.
He's come back after Canada with a vengeance, Lando has. And he's going to do it.
And he, at the moment, is on course for a first ever win in front of his home fans. And what will that do to his championship challenge?
Yeah, it'll ignite it, surely. And Norris usually does alright around Spa as well. Although he hasn't got a podium there, but he can do well around there as well. So expect Lando to beam a fight at Spa.
And he very much kept Oscar in sight. A pair of them have driven brilliantly. When it all
Yeah,
come
pair of them
down,
have.
McLaren were in a different league, weren't they? And they just pulled out such a big advantage to give themselves a cushion. And yes, they're a little bit quicker on that lap.
Yeah.
With so few miles or kilometres to go now, it looks like we're pretty set.
Yeah, it does look like it.
Catching, no, he's not catching Verstappen. He's close to Verstappen.
Ollie Behrman is half a second still behind George Russell. Not
2 laps to go.
Underneath that, that's Jonathan Wheatley. Took over in April as team principal.
Yeah.
Sauber said that Mattia Bonotto, the CEO, had been doing a brilliant job at the factory to make the transition.
The Damson Eardovs is very much checking like another actor from the F1 movie.
The day-to-day race team operations, and he's made a huge difference to that team, who have been scoring some brilliant points recently and are on course for a podium finish.
Yeah, with Nico Hülkenberg as well. Verstappen's got ahead of Stroll.
The checker flag, Lance Stroll has lost out to Max Verstappen, and he's back down into 6th as Verstappen gets back up into 10th.
Yeah, they're all gaining on him.
We've got a touch of Hollywood to wave the checker flag. We've had a touch of Hollywood for this Grand Prix here at Silverstone this afternoon, and we are about to start the final
Last lap
with Lando Norris. Now this is the moment that he would have dreamt about. As a young man making his way through his motorsport career and into Formula One, that one day he'd come to Silverstone.
There's Verstappen on Stroll.
With the British Grand Prix. This is how Verstappen.
Stroll went off the track.
Just going a bit wide.
Went a bit wide actually, not off the track.
Stroll's hold on to P5 comes to an end there. The moment for Lando is fast approaching.
It is.
Piastri, a very fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He'll be frustrated. He got a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, Piastri could have won this one.
5 seconds behind. It's cost him victory. Going to be very painful for the young Aussie.
Last year it's Hamilton winning. This year it's Lando.
It's going to be like when he gets down to Stowe.
And history's repeating itself. 6th of July 2008, Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix for the first time in a McLaren, and now Lando Norris is doing it in 2025 in a McLaren, in a chrome one as well, a chrome and orange McLaren.
Very, very popular in these parts, and already you can hear the crowd cheering as he makes his way onto the hangar straight for one more time. The grandstands are right at the end of the straight. He's got enough time to wave at the fans.
Yeah, he's got enough time to do that. Yeah, he did. But a crowd cheering for Lando. They're waving Lando on. He's done it! Lando Norris! Lando's done it. 17 years of the Hamilton's triumph in the McLaren. Lando Norris has done it for McLaren. But behind us. Behind us. It's going to happen. Yeah, let us all stand and cheer for Nico Hulkenberg. On his way. Yeah. It's getting here. Hulkenberg is on the podium for the first time. Go on, Nico. Yeah, they can celebrate. Hulkenberg will probably be crying in that car. He can't believe it. His first podium in F1. Finally. I can't help but smile for him. I'm so pleased for him. Team Orlando.
That's it, mate. You won the British Grand Prix. Well done.
Yeah, he'll enjoy that, Lando will.
We did it!
We did it, Will. We did it.
Oh my god, we did it.
This one means a lot of us.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well done.
Incredible, what a...
Some of that. Last Stroll in 7th, Alex Albon came home to give Williams 4 precious points ahead of Fernando Alonso. It's a double point.
Hulkenberg gets third. Lando Norris is your British Grand Prix winner in 2025. 17 years on the exact day Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix in changeable conditions. Norris has done it here in his McLaren. And this Watchalong here, guys. What a British Grand Prix that was. Thanks all for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe if anyone is new. It's tough if you signed in, and turn notification when there's future videos coming up. But Hulkenberg Team Radio.
23 babies.
I have to finish that
I
later.
don't think I can comprehend what we just done.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Incredible, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic job. I can't believe it.
Obviously, like, subscribe, turn on notification when future videos / streams coming up, guys. And see you on the next one. See you then. Hope you have a great day. Next weekend, German Grand Prix MotoGP.